Hello, everybody. It's comedian Jen Kober. Welcome to my podcast, Bitchin' Over Biscuits, where we eat biscuits and bitch. It's pretty self-explanatory there in the title. I am here with my always present, ever-loving, sweet, sweet producer, Mr. Mike Brignac. Mike Brignac, how are you this morning?
Hey, Jen, I'm really good, and I'm very hungry for this biscuit.
I like that about you. And today, folks, we are joined by our very special mystery celebrity guest, Kristin Key. Hi!
Oh, hiya. Hi, everybody.
Hey.
You know
Surprise!
You know her from the TikToks, you know her from the Facebook, the Instagram. She is all over the place with her lesbian army tour taking over America. Imagine that. She is saluting us right now. Very, very patriotic.
Oh, yeah, I should say I am saluting. I forgot this is a podcast. We're audioing.
It's an audio.
I'm saluting. I'm topless
medium.
as well. That's not true.
It's a different, where we'll be bitching over biscuits and boobies. That's a different podcast. We are.
Oh, I want to subscribe to that one.
I know, right? Maybe we've thought about this all wrong. Maybe we've taken the wrong place altogether. So what we do here at Bitchin' Over Biscuits is we take a different genre of podcast every week. We dive deep into that topic while eating biscuits, thus getting our podcast out in every genre to expose the most people to our homegrown take on tasty topics. We are so excited to have you with us, Kristin Key. Not only are you a hilarious comedian, friend, you're a Southern lady. You are from
That's kind of you to say. I did. I grew up in Texas. I like to say I escaped.
Good for you.
But yes, I did. I was grown in Texas.
You are Texas made, born and bred. We love Southern people. We have a lot of Southern people here on the show. I feel like they get it. They just get it a little more than the rest of at least they get me.
I was going to say, I live on the coastal bubble now. I'm a Los Angelian, and I feel pretty comfortable here, but I often travel to the southern bubble. I feel like there's like the Middle Earth bubble and the coastal bubbles. And it's important for us to go into each other's bubbles from time to time to see that we're real and that we're not near as crazy as our bubble tends to tell us that the other side is. So I think it's very important for us to cross bubbles.
Correct. Yes. My lady and I have a home here in Los Angeles and a home in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And I tell people that we're bi-coastal if you consider the Mississippi River a coast. And we do. You
do, but you can.
That's right. We are eating biscuits this morning. Because we just got into town late last night, my lady usually makes me a homemade biscuit. Yeah. She's a baker. That's like her big thing. She loves, I know. I've really lucked out here, Kristin. But this morning, she was like, I just want to take a hot shower and listen to Kristin Key. So I was like, fine, I'll just order a biscuit.
That's a good lady again.
I know, she is a good lady. So I ordered a Chick-fil-A spicy chicken biscuit, which is just delicious. And as a Southern gay lady, I know I'm not supposed to love Chick-fil-A,
right.
but I do.
I thought that was...
And I know it's verboten.
You're not supposed to eat it. You're allowed to love it. You are allowed to love it. You're not supposed to eat it because they are delicious, and you just have to feel bad.
I know. I'm fat first.
There is something.
Second.
There is something in Chick-fil-A sauce that gives gay people diarrhea. So just beware. It's coming.
Well, here's what's
worth
great,
it.
To make it,
probably.
It is worth it. To make it seem healthy, I also ordered the fruit cup. Do you see the giant fruit cup? So that makes it all worthwhile. Mike, what kind of biscuit you got this morning?
I went old school. I got the can. My dad used to call them the Whop biscuits because you whop it on the counter. The Pillsbury flaky layers. But the great part
means something different now.
I know. I learned that twat isn't a butt. That's a whole nother story from high school.
Oh, Lord.
But here you'll see delicious homemade jalapeno jelly.
Ooh, I thought it was like your biscuit's gone bad, Mike. You need to throw that out. It is green. Don't eat it.
Because the jelly is green. And Miss Kristin Key, what kind of a biscuit are you sporting this fine morning?
this is a last minute biscuit because I found out at 6 a.m. that I needed to have one. So this is a British biscuit, also known as a scone. I got a scone from a bakery near my home. It is a chocolate chip scone. I'm having a cup of English breakfast tea. So this is the furthest from a Southern biscuit you could get, except for it's all the same ingredients.
It's true. I did not know when I went to Europe.
Except for lard. There's no lard in a British biscuit.
Oh, I did not know that. I don't know what the baking differences are because I don't bake. I leave that to my lady friend. But I'll tell you this right now. When I was in England and they asked me if I wanted a biscuit, I was like, yes, I do. And when they brought me a cookie, I was pretty pissed. Now, look, I'm not too pissed. It's still a fucking cookie. It's not like they brought me a shit can, but they brought me this cookie. And I was like, hold on, friend. I was expecting a fluffy biscuit. And they're like, oh, that's an American, Southern American biscuit. I was like, yeah, friend, Louisiana. Where are you from?
But if you ask for a scone, you're going to get a biscuit and you're going to love it. I was surprised in London that we went to a tea and I thought we'd just have tea. It's a fucking tower of cookies and biscuits and sandwiches. It's like, and they'll just keep bringing them. It's all you could eat. And you just, because I was like, oh, just, some English breakfast. You get enough tea to power you for 3 days because I kept drinking it because I would drink alcoholically. So anything you put in front of me, I'm going to chug. So I drink like 4 pots of tea and like 2.5 towers of treats. It's amazing.
Oh, I love that. See, this is a perfect segue into what today's genre is. Today we are tackling travel. We are bitching about travel. So it's so perfect that you brought that up, Kristin. My biggest problem with being in Europe in general, and this is what my bitch is that I feel like they thought I was stupid just because I was American. Now I understand why. It's not like it's lost on me. Florida exists. I get it. But also, like, I kind of expected them to be more open-minded about the fact that everybody's going to be different. But I found that, when I got the dirty looks while I was traveling in Europe was when I asked for ice. They looked at me like I just asked them to if I could jerk off in their face. Like, I was like, what? Why can you? All I want is ice. I know that was a graphic image. I just want some ice, though. They were not. And apparently it's because they don't have big freezers in Europe. They don't have a lot of space, right? We are America. We're very vast and massive. We have Sam's Club stores. They don't really have that in England. And we have big freezers. So we can have lots of ice in our restaurants. We have whole machines dedicated to being nothing but ice. But apparently that is not what they have chosen to do in Europe. And when I asked for ice, they looked at me like I was farting on them. It was terrible. I could not believe the judgment I got for wanting
they save it. It's a special thing. Yeah, it's special. You can't just have a ton of ice.
This was August. I'm like, okay, I get we've saved it all year, but can we use it now when we need it?
Not yet. It is not time for ice. It is not ice season. You stupid American. I don't know what European accent that was. I hope I didn't get canceled by all of Europe. Like, of us.
The whole lesbian army.
I mean, I think the more Southern you sound, probably the more you're going to be hated on in Europe. And I mean, it is just the way of it as America is perceived. From what I've seen from Europeans' impressions of Americans, when they do impressions of us, it's either Californian or Southern. And when they do Californian, it's just like, oh my God, I'm so stupid avocado. Yeah. Everybody is like, I'm from Florida. Fucking alligator. So I think just having a Southern accent might be when they're just like, stupid American asking for ice, fucking their alligators,
Yeah, this is I don't know why the poor alligators are getting fucked, but I get it. I feel the pain. And the
don't knock it till you try it, Jed.
I know. Well, look, so it might come down to that. But I feel like I also have to bitch about the airports in other countries. Y'all, I don't know if you know, in America, I sounds like such a redneck saying this, but in America, at our airports, the flights are listed alphabetically by the city you're going to. If you're going to Burbank, it's going to be at the beginning of the list with the B's. If you're going to New Orleans, it's going to be right there in the middle with the N's. If you're going to Washington, D.C., it's going to be at the end with the W's. That's how alphabet works. Y'all, in these other countries, there's no consistency. There is an airport in Bogota that does it by time of flight, and it's all in military time. I'm like, you gotta be shitting me. I'm already in Colombia, so my ass is clenched, okay? And now I can't tell where I'm going because of the it's all arranged by the flight time. Then I go to Amsterdam, and it's arranged by flight number. Are you kidding me? When you're flying, do you know the flight number?
I don't even know the airline half the time. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I am usually just like half awake because I like those morning flights because I'm so afraid I'm not going to get there in time to make it to the show. So I fly first thing in the morning. I'm so tired. I'm just like barely got an eye cocked open anyway to get to this flight. And now you want me to know the flight number?
In all airports, I think they put the big screens where you have all your flight information. They seem to put them right in the middle of the most trafficked area to where when you do, if people stop and stand there, you're like, move, like we're all running. It's like everybody stops at this one place, tuck them in just ever so slightly. So when people are looking for their flight, the rest of the airport isn't just like, mad at you for looking. Cause they put them in very highly populated areas. That's my beef with I got a couple of them. That's one of my beefs. Move these screens that people do need to look at. They put them smack dab in the middle of the road, especially the one that's pretty bad. There's what's that airport that always has Chick-fil-A? And I always fly there on Sunday. And I'm like, that's for the best. If it's closed, I can't eat there. I'm like, good. I wasn't going to eat there anyway. It's a Texas airport. And there's a Chick-fil-A, a barbecue joint, and a Whataburger. It's the DFW that's not DFW. It's the other one, the one that sells
Love Field.
God, Love Field. Yeah. And so they put the big board of where flights are smack in the middle of the street. It's not a street, you're inside, but it causes a little.
We know what you mean.
Yeah, you know the inside street for planes.
You know what they need? You know what they need at airports? They need DoorDash at airports. Go to the flipping McDonald's and whatever. Let me order it when I'm about to land. Bring it to me at my next gate so I can get on this fucking plane.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing. If you just could Instacart from around the airport too. Like I want an iced tea, a bag of chips, somebody that it does not look like a lesbian to go stand in the Chick-fil-A line and come back to me. Yes, that's $1 million idea right there.
At the Minneapolis airport, there's a section of it. I don't know if it's everywhere because I only fly Delta. But when they get you in that section, there's little iPads at the chairs. Yeah. And you can order stuff from all over the airport at that iPad, and they bring it to you at that. I mean, you can shop, you can get food, you can get drinks, you can get earplugs, whatever, and they bring it to your seat. Now you've got to say that you're going to be in that seat for like an hour, but I'm going to be. I mean, let's do this.
You can see your flights the day before. You've got plenty of time. Yeah.
That's right. I will sit in that Sky Lounge and wait for you to shop for me. I am not scared of you.
Lounges are great. Oh God. I mean, I know we're supposed to be bitching, but I'm a obnoxiously positive person. How great is an airport lounge? I mean, as opposed to just sitting in a seat when the days that because I don't have a Delta, I got my credit card back when I was much, much younger. So I have a Southwest Visa and now I have 400,000 miles on it. Not a lot to do with it. I mean, I fly for free a whole lot, but if you get one of those Delta attaches your points, sometimes you get lounge access all the time. I'll buy a day pass and just be like, oh, who's a pretty fancy girl? Who's a fancy eating oatmeal at 9 a.m. in a recliner?
It's the best. I mean, and here's the thing. That's the other thing that's wrong with the airport. There's not enough chairs. You know you're putting 200 fucking people on this plane. Why are there 60 chairs here? Do you think we all just want to stand here like idiots? Come on, you're telling us they're getting you there so early, right? They want you there 2 hours ahead, which nobody does. But 2 hours ahead, they're saying. You want me to just stand there for 2 hours while you pick your butt and figure this shit out? Come on, man.
It is hard. And then people will save the seat next to them for their bag. I'm a frequent flyer.
I don't want people next to me.
Oh, well, I will come right up to you and be like, are you sitting there? Is that seat taken? Because I need you to look me in the eye and tell me that is, you're just going to keep your bag there. Because if you do, I will move on respect. But I'll be like, is anyone sitting there? And if you're like, my bag is, I'd be like, fair. But usually I can bully somebody's bag out of a seat. I'm a curt traveler. I'm not mean, but I'm not friendly. Like I don't like to talk. I don't like talkers on a plane. And
Right.
I'm a pretty good blocker. Like when people are like, oh, where are you going? I'll just take one headphone and say, excuse me. And then we'll ask again, where are you going? And I'll say, work, and put my headphone back in. So I like to give little, what are they? Social cues that this isn't happening. You know, go on the other side, try someone else.
Now, do you do that when someone knows who you are?
It depends on if they're gay. I'm a little more prejudiced about, like, there was a gay guy sitting on next to me on a plane, and like he recognized me. We talked most of the flight, but he was wonderful. Although, you know what, I've never been like, if it was like a straight person, just like, I've seen your videos, I'm not gonna be like, fuck, I'm hetero.
Wow.
Goddamn breeder.
I get pretty excited when it's a queer person. So, but that's not someone that recognized me. That's in general. If there's a queer sitting next to me on a plane, I'm gonna be more inclined to talk to them than just a rando like Sky Karen, just like, where are you going to? What's your church home? Like, we're not going to talk. Yeah. I had a lady, it's because I used to talk to people. I had a lady on a plane once, and we talked for a long time. This is back when I used to drink. And so I was drinking a Bloody Mary. She was drinking a Bloody Mary. And I was like, oh, we're friends because we both drink Bloody Marys. And then like, I just thought anybody that drinks a Bloody Mary can't be a dick. And then like, we're going to Oregon, and we're like, I mentioned my wife, and she goes, oh, that just hurts my heart. And I was like, oh, you have heart issues? She goes, no, it hurts my heart that you're a homosexual. And I was like,
oh no.
How do I get out of this seat fast enough? Because now whatever happens, I'm done talking to you. Yeah. Like, so now I just don't talk to anybody unless they're gay.
You know, I was on a plane once, and the woman got on, I was in a middle seat. So I was just already pissed off. But I had jumped onto this flight at the very last minute, and it was going to get me there sooner than the other. I was waiting on a flight, and they were like, there's one more seat on this one if you want to jump on this early one. And I was like, yes. And it was a middle seat. And I'm like, ugh, okay, fine. It's a 2-hour flight. I can do it. It was Kansas City back to LA. And this woman sits down next to me, and she's crying. Now, this is a woman who's probably 55, 60 years old. She is, I mean, not just like tears in her eyes, like she is full on crying. And I'm like, God damn it. Why did these people always find me? So I looked at her. I mean, I'm not made of wood. I looked at her and I'm like, are you okay? Mm-mm. And she said, I just got a text that my mother passed away. And I can't do anything. I'm on this trip to work. And my heart just broke for her. And at the time, I was estranged from my mother. So I was having my own kind of feels in my seat, right? So instead of engaging her in conversation, I just put my hand out and I held her hand. And I turned away from her because I was starting to cry too, because you can't cry next to me. I'm going to cry with you. That's just who I am. So but I didn't want her to see that I was crying. So I'm just stayed kind of turned away from her, and I held her hand for the flight. And then when we got off, I told her, I hope this all works out for you, whatever. Meanwhile, I've taken 700 flights since then. And a friend of mine contacts me. I mean, this must have been, I'm not kidding you, 8 months later. My friend says, girl, I think there's a video about you on TikTok. I'm like, what? She goes, you had told me a story about sitting next to this woman that cried. And there's a lady on TikTok looking for a lady who sat next to her the day her mama died and cried. And she said it was a short-haired lady in a hoodie. And I know it's you. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Wow. So she sends me the video. I go look at the video. I'm like, oh, this is the fucking lady. Wow. This is her. Then... But I don't have any, what am I going to do? I was the lady that sat next to you. It was weird. So then I get an email from Delta Airlines saying There was a woman whose mother died. We looked it up, and you are the person she sat next to. She wanted us to pass on her contact information because we wouldn't give her your contact information. Here's how you get a hold of her. She wants to talk to you. I'm like, oh my God. Cut to the next day. I get on, I'm like, I think I'm the lady that you're looking for. And she lost her shit, immediately got on the phone and called me. Turns out she works for a media publication and was coming to Los Angeles for the People's Choice Awards. Whoa. And of course, it all kind of that trip got blown up because her mother passed away. But she said, I will never, she said, I didn't know what to do. And you didn't ask me a bunch of questions. You just held my hand and it just calmed me. I was able to like calm down and make a plan and whatever. And she said, and I will just never forget that comfort that you showed me. And I was like, oh my God, if this woman only knew that really I was only doing that because I didn't want to talk to anybody. Do you know what I mean? I was just in my own little world. But she was so kind, and we have stayed in touch, and we have visited each other since then. And, you know, she sends me a Christmas card of her and her husband in their yard, and they're pretty at Christmas and Easter time. Just a lovely lady who I would have, you know, never met if I hadn't been, you know, because my instinct was to be like, don't look at her.
See,
don't look at the lady crying, but I cannot do that.
I'm trying to like, would I have asked her if she's okay, or would I have just like turned on my Switch and started playing Zelda? Like, I have no, even when she's like, my mother just died. Oh, I have a castle to save. Like, I want to think that I'm the person that would be like, oh my God, well, you are not alone. But also, I don't know if I would have just been like, cool, because I downloaded a Buffy the Vampire Slayer and I got shit to do. So I hope I'm more of a Jen Kober in this situation, because that's a beautiful story.
I had every intention of it. Like when I saw her, it was like, oh God, here we go. Right? It's like when you're at the Waffle House and the waitress comes up to the table and she has a black eye, and you're like, oh. You want to ask, like, are you okay? Blink twice if you need help. But also, you just want your raisin toast and your cheese eggs, and you don't want to talk to people. Right. So I get it. But I have to tell you, and I think it's because I'm from a small town, I got to know what happened. I got to know why you're crying on a Delta flight. Like, that's a pretty public place to be crying. Something clearly went on in the immediacy right then, you know? And I got to know. I got to know what happened.
Let me ask you a question. So you're a sensitive person to people that are crying on a plane. If the person next to you was sick and like throwing up in the vomit bag, would you offer assistance or leave them alone?
Oh, this is another one.
I had the stomach flu on the plane one time, and so I've had to use my vomit. Well, I might have used my vomit bag more than once. I'm an alcoholic, and I don't drink anymore. But I have had the stomach flu on a plane, so one time I violently used my vomit bag. And I can tell you what the person next to me did, and it was the right choice. But I want to know what your answer is. What would you do if someone was sick?
I'm torn on this one, because part of me is like, I don't want to catch whatever it is you have because I'm traveling so much and I cannot miss work. I rely on these checks to pay all of the bills and toys and travel that I do. So, I can't get sick. But also, my dad's a doctor. So whenever I see sick people, I'm always like, right when you're the kid of a doctor, you think you are a doctor. I don't know if you know this about doctor's kids.
That's not good.
Right? Like if anybody tells me anything they have, I'm like, have you tried some Cipro? Maybe you need to get on a little bit of amoxicillin.
You're the worst person to be sick around.
Right. So
let me prescribe you everything that I have in my home. Like,
I would be like, I have a bunch of shit in my bag. You want to see if I have a pill that'll fix this? But also I don't like to get sick. So I'm not sure. It would depend on what.
I had a cough. Jen Kober gave me fentanyl. It was weird.
It would depend on what the person looked like.
All right. So I had violent stomach flu. I had eaten a New Year's Eve buffet at a comedy club that I won't name. And so I have whatever it's called.
Why would you do that?
I was still drinking at the time. And so I woke up with, a little nauseous, like I must be hungover. And then it turned into not hungover. I have the stomach flu and threw up multiple times into my bag. I would have gotten up to use the lavatory, but we were already making an emergency landing halfway home. We were supposed to go to Los Angeles. We had to stop in Vegas because a lady had a fucking heart attack.
Oh shit!
On the day that I have the stomach flu, and I'm like, it's good for her. She needs to land.
Understand how this works? We are on a sickness rotation. Two of us can't be sick on this flight.
The guy next to me literally pretended I didn't exist, and it's all I needed to feel like a human. I needed him to just ignore me, because if he would have like somehow gotten involved, it would make me so embarrassed. I might have shit my pants. I don't know. I got my dignity intact, because maybe it's because like if I see someone throw up, I get a little. But he just pretended like that seat was empty, and it made so for any. I don't know if everybody's like that. My wife, the first time I ever saw her throw up, I tried to help her, and she was like, "Leave me alone." I was like, "Okay, everybody has their own personal like. You want to puke and shit in private? That's great." But yes. I really appreciated in fact, if anybody knows who that man is that ignored me while I was throwing up in a plane.
You need to make a Twitter video and call Delta Airlines. They can connect you to.
Pretended I didn't exist, and it just meant the world to me.
Look, that's what you need sometimes. So when I'm sick like that, I do want you to leave me alone while I'm doing the deed, but I do want someone to bring me like a little cold rag and blot my little forehead and get me on the back of the neck and just ask me if I need some ginger ale. I do want that.
This is off topic, but this is about our partners. Is your boo a nurturer or a leave you alone? Because I grew up with a nurturing. You got a nurturer? I grew up with a very nurturing mother, and that's all I know. My wife did not. She grew up with a mom that was like, "Oh, you don't feel good? Feel better."
Yeah, my mom too. Listen, my mom, I'm not trying to diss my mom, but she was a nurse. So this is, she's just not about it. If you throw up, she's walking away. She's going to be like, "I'll bring you some paper towels." Like it's not her thing. When I had a terrible flu, and I was like, "Mama, I need Gatorade and water. I have nothing in this house. I'm so dehydrated. Please, I can't leave." She came to my house with a case of water and a case of Gatorade and left them on the fucking porch. Would not even knocked on the door and ran the fuck back to her car. Like, I was like, "Are you serious right now?" I always say my mother should have raised snakes and not children.
This is my wife. My wife doesn't know, like, I'm sick, I go to the guest room because we don't we don't stay sick in the same room. There's no reason for both of us to get sick. Her rule, not mine. My mother, if I had the most contagious form of leprosy, my mother would crawl into my pajamas with me to like lick my hair like a cat. My mom was over nurturing. Yes. So now I have this wife that's just like, "Oh, I have COVID." She's like, "Okay, keep your door closed." I will slide. I'm like, "Wait, this doesn't feel like mom." Like, you're the worst.
No, I'm very lucky. Mine is practically a nipple. She is very nurturing. She is very coddling, right, Mike? She's a very
very nurturing
and a perfect travel partner, because she gets very anxious when we travel a lot. She just hasn't gone a lot of places. And you and I, Kristin, I mean, probably even you, Mike, we travel a lot. I mean, I've been a lot of places. I'm on a lot of planes a lot of times during the month. And so to be with someone who is like nervous about it and anxious about it actually calms me down, because I can't lose my shit, because I don't want her to lose her shit. So it's really great for us to travel together, because I can just be the solid one.
You're the alpha, and you can show her. You have a job down. Like a dog. Yeah. You need a job. Yeah.
That's right. I am her emotional support lesbian.
I'm a horrible travel partner, because I travel alone so much. I don't understand that a buddy would like to spend time with you. So when me and my wife travel, even for like vacation, we'll like get in the airport, and I'm like, I just go, and she's like, "Wait, I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna go to the bathroom." She's like, "Give me all your bags." I'm like, "Why?" And she's like, "Why would you carry your bags into the bathroom?" I was like, "Because I know how." She's like, "You have a friend now." I was like, "Huh." So I'm always very defensive. I'm like, "Are you trying to steal my luggage?" She was like, No, I'll watch the bags and then I'll go to the bathroom." I was like, "What?" She's like, "I brought games to play on the plane." I was like, "I hope you find someone to play them with." Like, I got shit to do. So I'm getting better. But
make a neighbor friend. Now, Mike, you travel.
There's a lady crying. Play dominoes with her.
Exactly. Engage the crying people. Mike, you travel with kids, which is its own different. I mean, that's.
Yeah. We did. No, we don't. They're grown now, but I have 5 kids, and there were times.
What?
Yeah, we flew like I've mentioned this story to you, Jen, flying to Maine, and we have 5 kids, 2 of them on our backs in, those little things you wear and you put the baby. Yeah. And the other 3 toddlers. And then we're at the Newark airport, bomb threat. We're all evacuated into the snow outside. So traveling with kids, it's a whole big different thing. Somebody's always going to be holding
That's
that
2
bag.
rows.
Yeah.
It's
Can you imagine, Kristin? Think about how much every time I see someone get on a plane with a baby, I'm like, what are you fucking doing? Why would you take this little fucker with you at all? And when I sit in first class and I see children sitting in first class, I'm like, you little shit. Get up and get your ass back to coach where you fucking belong.
What if they were? So if a kid's crying, you're like, fuck you. If it's a lady, you're like, come here, give me your hand. You must be this old to cry on a plane.
Well, I can't imagine being a child and expecting if you fly first class as a kid and then you become an adult and you got to fly coach because you can't afford first class anymore because mommy and daddy are making you pay your own bill. You're gonna get a real slap in the face. That's a real big difference.
Oh,
it is.
And if that's what you're used to, think about it. You nurture mommy. That's what you were used to. And then you got cold lady. Now think if you're used to first class and they throw you into fucking. There was a woman. We came out here on a Southwest flight, and there was a woman behind us. We went New Orleans to Vegas, and then Vegas to Burbank.
That sounds like Southwest. Yes.
That Burbank airport is a goddamn dream. It is. There's like 2 gates. One is in and one is out. That is it. It is the easiest airport in the whole wide world to get in and out of. You literally you get out of the plane, not into a sky bridge. It's like a ramp outside. Like you step into the fresh air.
That's like Long Beach.
Yeah, and they let you out of the front and the back of the plane. It's beautiful. It's like the greatest way to land in California. So we always want to fly into Burbank, and it's just closer to where we live. So I'm like, this is going to be perfect. But on the flight from New Orleans to Vegas, we're sitting in front of a woman who the stewardess had to come up to her and go, ma'am, what's in that cup? And she goes, wine. Just like, I'm sorry, ma'am, we can't have any alcohol brought from outside onto the plane. Well, I wish somebody would have told me that. So, well, we made an announcement about it at the top of the flight, but I'm sorry. You can drink it, and I can just take the cup, but I have to take it from you. Ugh. And she takes a gulp of it, but can't really finish it and hands it to her. And then starts bitching to her husband. I cannot believe I can't even have a glass of wine on this goddamn. It's like a Greyhound bus in here. Like she is clearly not used to Southwest. She's in like row 4. There's nobody between them. You know what I mean? She's got the best case scenario on a Southwest flight you can have. Yeah. And she is. This is like a bus. I can't, Henry. I will never again agree to this. And he goes, babe, it was the only, we decided to go yesterday. These were the only tickets I could get us to Las Vegas that were direct.
I hope she flies Spirit next time. I hope she flies Spirit and she understands how good you have it on Southwest. Southwest is like socialism in an airline, and I love it because no first class, but they're all economy plus. Because if you get a tape measure and you measure Southwest seats, they are about the length of an economy plus flight on any other airline, and everybody gets them. No, there's no first class, but everybody else has pretty good leg room. Southwest, the only way to fly. Sorry.
Southwest is not in any way a sponsor of the Bitchin. Southwest does not endorse anything said on the Bitchin. I can say this though, the Southwest internet never fucking works. It never fucking works. And you know why? Because they don't have TVs on the plane. That's why they've saved the money. They didn't put the TVs on the plane. You gotta bring your own.
No, girl, you gotta bring your own.
Connect to the Wi-Fi, and then you can watch the movie. Yeah, me and these 200 other fucking people can all get on the one bar of Wi-Fi you have on this fucker. Are you serious right now?
But they have live TV, and USA almost always has an SVU marathon. So if you're on Southwest, you can almost always watch SVU with commercials, except for like 2 days a week when it's Chicago Fire, and you're like, this is the worst flight I've ever been on. Eat a dick, Chicago Fire.
That's right. Eat a dick, Chicago Fire.
Ruins like 2 days a week on my flight.
T-shirt. You need that on a T-shirt. Eat a dick, and then on the back, Chicago Fire.
Chicago Fire. Yeah, you ruin SVU marathons.
You know what? You know what kills? What I don't enjoy is when you get the not the SVU, the Law and Order Criminal Intent marathon. Who is that for? I just get to figure out why they committed the crime. What the fuck are you doing? That Vincent D'Onofrio just needed the insurance, I think, and they created a show around him. So
I got to keep my SAG insurance going.
It's an insurance scam. That whole show. Damn it.
Meanwhile, Mariska Hargitay has been on the air for 57 years, and she'll never ever end. It's going like Ellen Pompeo is trying to get off Grey's Anatomy, and Mariska Hargitay is like, "Bitch, just write it out. Just come in from time to time. All you got to do is be like, I'm Captain Benson. Ooh, rape, murder, bum bum, and it's over. Pick up your check, get your insurance."
I know. She's such a lovely human, Mariska Hargitay.
Did you see that story about the little girl that stopped her in the street while they were shooting because she thought she was a police lady, and Mariska stopped all of production until she found her mommy?
I love that.
I'm gonna pretend like I lost my mom if I ever see her. I'm gonna be like, Mariska Hargitay.
If I thought the cops in New York looked like Mariska Hargitay, I would be looking for rapists in Central Park 24 hours a day. I would be in Central Park like, what are you doing? What are you fucking doing? Get your hands where I can see them. Like all day long. But the problem is the cops in New York look like Danny DeVito, not Mariska Hargitay.
Oh, if you're listening and you're a detective in New York, I bet you're beautiful. You do not let Jen talk to you that way.
You're beautiful on the inside.
Don't detective shame.
But you've seen that. All those guys on Dateline, they all look like they couldn't chase down a fucking suspect if they had to. They've had like 4 boxes of donuts for breakfast. Me too. You never see a fat female detective. It does not happen. Does not happen.
Most of the time when they show like the cops on Dateline though, like regular people cops, they are dumb as a bag of hair. But female detectives are always the one that solve them. Yeah. They're always the one like, I stayed with it. I dreamt about it. I was not going to let this one go. The guy's like, I mean, we interviewed the husband like 3 or 4 times. We're like, he fucking did it. And then we couldn't find proof. What are we supposed to do? Our hands are tied by the law. I might be sexist. I'm just going to put it out there.
Maybe.
Well, I mean, Mike, I think would agree with this, that women's brains think in a different way than men's brains, right?
Oh, we would not.
The men, I feel like whenever I see the men on Dateline, they're following the formula. First, we ask the spouse, then we follow the money, right? Like they got a dit, they do, right? And the female detective is like, what I wanted to know is why did he eat an ice cream sandwich at 5 p.m.?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like,
women are much better detectives. My wife, every woman I know never just accepts the one-word answer. No. She wants to dig. Oh, let me just check. And
why did they leave the Afghan at the bottom of the couch? If they were watching TV, it would have been on their it's like, oh, she knows what to ask. She knows where that Afghan's supposed to be. She knows how people eat ice cream.
Much better detectives. And presidents, too. We need a woman president as well.
Slow down there. What
louder for the people in the back. I don't know if they can handle it, you know. You know what's so funny is I feel like the argument I've always heard for there not being a female president is that, well, they'll get their period and then we're having a nuclear war because she's having the PMS, right? Have you noticed the age of the people we fucking elect? It's not like we're electing some 32-year-old girl who still bleeds. Hillary Clinton hadn't seen a tampon since 1982. Come on.
I don't think Indira Gandhi's period affected anything with her leadership.
Right.
No.
Elizabeth lived when there weren't even tampons. Elizabeth literally had to
just bled out.
Get gross about
She just bled out. It was just Shark
She just had a goblet that she sat on all day. I don't know how they used to do it. She just sat over the royal chalice and just menstruated royally.
A royal vat. Oh, that's hilarious. Well, though I will say that I have gotten a hot flash or two that would have made me nuke a country. That has happened.
Menopause would be rough. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I can't even jump into this because I'm so ridiculously, obviously sexist about it. So I'm just going to be like, I agree. I think a woman would be a fantastic leader and leave it at that because anything else just gets gross.
Look, that's why I keep Mike on the show. He's the token male. He's got to be.
I celebrate you. I'm just obviously I have a favorite.
He's an ally. We're allies of the straight folks. We don't. You're okay, Mike. You're not.
Oh, I know I'm okay. I love everybody.
He does. He's
Fuck
one of the
all of
nicest
this.
fucking people you will
Yeah.
ever know.
All of
real kind to me.
this shit is stupid. These divisions and labels, and everybody should be exactly who they want to be, and fuck everybody else.
Oh, if you were crying on a plane, I'd hold your hand, Mike.
Thank you.
That's why-
Actually, you
that's
won't
why
let me
Mike
sit
is
next
here.
to you because I'm straight. So I just unfriended you.
If I have a choice, I don't know if
I
you're
unfollowed
I can't
you.
eyeball a straight guy. I don't know if I picture all guys are gay until proven otherwise. So I just assumed you were queer.
Well, in college, it was quite. It's a whole nother thing. I'm fluid. Let's just
We
say
like
I'm
to hear
fluid.
that. That's what we
Yeah.
like to hear.
I just kind
That
of
is
go.
what we like to hear.
My wife always says,
Because
she's
I
like,
think
Kristin, not everything has to be gay. I'm like,
it's
are you
probably
sure?
true of like 89% of people, right?
Yes,
We've all
I
had some
agree.
kind of. It's a spectrum, so you're somewhere on there. If you've had a finger in the butt, you're a little bit gay. That's how I feel.
There's so much to life we should all experience. Every flavor, every color of the rainbow.
Oh,
That's how I finished. My last bite of biscuit was a finger in the butt. I'm glad we
I
took that
love
picture
that.
before the show because
That's amazing. Kristin Key, thank you for joining us. We want to let everyone know that the Lesbian Army Tour is happening all over the country. You can find out Kristin's exact tour schedule at her website, KristinKey.com. That is KristinKey, KristinkeyKristin.com. She also has her own podcast called Kristin Knows Blank. I have been a guest on that podcast. So super fun. You have got a great little shtick going on, like your whole little, like you've got a little formula. It's like Watch What Happens Live, but with Kristin Key. It makes me very, very happy. It really does. There's
we
games,
chit chat. We do some rapid fire
Mad
questions. We
Lib.
play a Rad Lib. Yeah, it's all wonderful.
It's so much good stuff. So much good stuff. So check that out wherever you get your podcasts. Kristin, thank you for having a biscuit and bitchin' with us this morning.
I had the best time. I didn't realize that's how the show works. When my biscuit's done, the show's over.
Yeah, it's over.
I would have eaten it so much faster.
Well, we really do have a timer going, and you just happen to finish on time. But you're a comedian, and your timing is impeccable. So it does not surprise us that that's what happened.
You're just so sweet, Jen. I love this podcast. I love your concept. I'm so excited to see how this goes and see all your guests. You guys, this is wonderful. I can't wait to watch or listen to the biscuits. So thank you for having me on. This is such a great show. I can't wait to see where it goes.
Well, thank you so much. If you would like to be part of our great big show, join us on Instagram. Find us at the BOB Podcast. That's at the BOB Podcast on Instagram, or on the World Wide Webs at thebobpod.com, thebobpod.com. We would love to have you there. Also, some opportunities to become a sponsor of our show, Southwest Airlines. Feel free to call in.
Oh my God, if you get Southwest, I'd be like, will you send them my way? Just tell them I'd say good things about them.
I know. Join us next week when we dive into another exciting genre of podcast with another surprise celebrity guest. This is Bitchin' Over Biscuits, and we are out.